For Unit 5, Day 1 notes, we're going to talk about the triangle angle sum theorem. And this triangle just says that all angles add up to 180 degrees. And that is for any triangle you are given. The sum of all angles should be 180 degrees. So, for vocabulary, an auxiliary line is a line that you can add to a proof to help explain relationships in proofs. Okay, this will actually come in use later, but not for the first couple examples. So for example 1, it says use the triangle angle sum theorem to solve for the missing angle. So here's the theorem. It says that all these angles added together should equal 180 degrees. So 65 plus 57, we should add those. And we get that that is 122 degrees. If we subtract that from 180 degrees, we would get the remaining angle there, which is 58. Same thing for part B. Even though this is an obtuse angle or triangle, still same thing applies. We add up our two angles here. So 130 plus 20, we get 150. We subtract that from 180, and we find the missing angle of 30 degrees. Okay, in angle 2, let's move this a little bit here. In angle 2, now we are dealing with angles and expressions for angles. So solve for the missing angle. So we need to find x, and then we also need to find the missing angle measurement. So first, I'm going to go ahead and set up an equation. I'm going to take these three angles, combine like terms, and set that equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so I would have 8x, add my 2, 70, and 60 because they are like terms, and get 132 equals 180. Subtract my 132 from both sides, we get 48. 48 divided by 8 is 6. So we know that the x value is 6 there. So we could do, or to find the missing angle, we could just plug 6 in right up here to this expression. So we could say 8 times 6 plus 2. So 48 plus 2 is 50 degrees. And if we take 70 plus 60 plus 50, we do get back to 180 degrees. Okay, part B is very similar, just a little bit more algebra involved. So we're going to add all three angles and set equal to 180 degrees. Okay, we're going to combine like terms on this side, which means you do not change the signs. So 8x plus 6x plus 3x would be 17x. Then we have a negative 35, a negative 5, and a negative 1. We add those together, and we get negative 41. Okay, now we're back to two-step equation. So if we add 41 to both sides, we get 221. Divide that by 17, and we get 13. Okay, so now we need to plug 13 in to each one of these expressions. So 3 times 13 minus 1 gives us 38 degrees. Okay, up here we would have 6 times 13 minus 5. And if we calculate that, we get 73 degrees. Okay, and then lastly, 8 times 13 minus 35 gives me 69 degrees. And again, if you add all these up, you would get back to 180 degrees. Okay. We're going to fit in the vocabulary. So for this vocabulary, exterior angle of a polygon, an angle formed by a side and an extension of an adjacent side. Okay, and I'll show you the example of that down here in this picture. And the remote interior angle, the two non-adjacent interior angles. Okay, so in the picture here, this right here is your exterior angle. Okay, these are the two remote interior angles. If we said non-adjacent, if we talked about adjacent, this one would be the adjacent one to angle 1. This angle is adjacent to angle 1. We want the two non-adjacent angles to angle 1, which are 2 and 3. And the theorem says that if you were to add these two angles together, it equals this exterior angle. Okay.